Hello everyone and welcome to my online soccer manager channel. Today in this video we will see 3 very strong and offensive tactics with which you can win championship matches and score many goals. Let's start with the first formation, the 4-3-3-B. Now let's see important aspects regarding defense, midfield and attack. First of all, let's put the goalkeeper. Now let's see how to arrange the defense by starting with the 2 central defenders who must have a good defense. As you can see, even if they are central defenders, they still have good offensive value. Subsequently, we put the 2 full backs who necessarily must have a high offensive value. As you can see, I have the right back with a value of 32 while the left one has 35. These are important in this formation, especially in moments of attack. Now let's put the midfielders, the central defensive one and the 2 wing midfielders who also play a very important role. In the midfield, the 2 wing midfielders play a very important role in the phase of play in the wing. Now let's move on to the attack. Let's put the striker and the 2 wing strikers first. Wing strikers are the most important players because they allow us to score many goals. I recommend having them with good defensive value because, as we will see later, they will help the midfield a lot. So if you position the players as you have seen, your team will be very strong and balanced, ready to win many games. I advise you to use this tactic when you have your team stronger than the opponent or when it is of equal strength with that of the opponent. It is important to put the players in their corresponding positions. In fact, a balanced and well-positioned team will allow us to win matches and stop the opponent's team. Now let's see the tactics for this lineup. The style I will use for this lineup is wing play, and I think it is the right style for 4-3-3-B. In fact, this style will allow us to make the best use of the wing players available to the 4-3-3-B. Line tactics. Let's start with the defense. First of all, if you have full backs with a high offensive value, then you can put offensive full backs. If not, let them defend deep. The midfielders maintain their position, and finally the strikers help the midfield, as they have good defensive value. For marking, I use zonal marking and the offside trap no. Tackling, it depends on the referee in the match. Now let's look at pressing, style and tempo. Let's start with pressing, with values between 60 and 70. The style will be offensive as we use an offensive formation like 4-3-3-B, so values between 60 and 70 are fine. Finally, I put the tempo at 70. Now let's look at the second tactic. The formation I will use is 4-3-3-A. This is another offensive formation together with 4-3-3-B that is used more often in league matches for many games and also to score many goals. Like 4-3-3-B, 4-3-3-A uses players located on the wings. In fact, this formation also has a perfect player provision for the style of wing play. As mentioned before, a well-positioned and balanced team, in which the players are placed in their corresponding positions, will allow us to play the matches as best as possible and stop the opposing team. Now let's see the tactics. The style suited to 4-3-3-A is wing play. Line tactics. Let's start from the defense, where the defenders defend deep. The midfielders play a very important role. In fact, they will protect the defense. Finally, for the strikers, I only put attack. For marking, I use zonal marking and the offside trap no. Tackling, it depends on the referee in the match. Now let's look at pressing, style and tempo. Just like the 4-3-3-B, for the 4-3-3-A, we set the pressing between 60 and 70, style between 60 and 70, and the tempo at 70. Now, let's move on to the third tactic. The formation I will use is 4-4-2-B. This formation is very different from 4-3-3-A or B. In fact, it has a more balanced and much more defensive disposition than other offensive tactics. The 4-4-2-B, with its layout of 4 defenders and 4 midfielders, it becomes the ideal tactic to choose when you are against teams that use 4-3-3-A or B, as we are able to defend ourselves best and score goals. The presence of 4 midfielders allows us to use a perfect style for this formation, the tikitaka. Thanks to the tikitaka style, 4-4-2-B allows our midfield and attack to play at their best and score many goals thanks to a good team pace. Also, for this tactic, it is essential to place the players in their corresponding positions. You can use this tactic when you are of equal strength with your opponent or when your team is stronger. Now let's see the tactics. The best style for 4-4-2-B is tikitaka. Line tactics. I keep everything balanced. In fact, the defenders defend deep, the midfielders maintain their position, and the strikers only attack. For marking, I use zonal marking and the offside trap no. Tackling. It depends on the referee in the match. Now let's look at pressing, style, and tempo. For pressing, I put a 60. For style, I put values between 60 and 70. And finally, we will need a good pace for the tikitaka, so I put a 70. Now let's see the specialists. For the captain, choose the oldest and most experienced player in your team. Penalty, choose the strongest striker on the team. Free kicks, put the midfielder a higher offensive value. Corner kicks, choose the second midfielder. Now let's see a game in which I use the 4-3-3-B that we saw at the beginning of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video and don't forget to like and subscribe for other OSM tactics.